good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike LL Cool Jew Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
I'm liking these. I was Notorious JEW last week, and now this week I'm LL Cool Jew. I'm liking these.
That's
Hey
actually,
everybody, how are
you
you
are
doing?
now in my phone as LL Cool Jew.
Really good. That's fine. That's good. Hey everybody, how are you doing? Thanks for tuning in to this
You know, you
fantastic
never
episode.
shared your video with me, so it's like I'm doing like a call-in again. Like a throwback to our very first video or our very first show we did together.
I never shared my video with you.
Like, I just see your picture with the dog in the background.
Oh. Well, I want to change that. I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah, it's weird because I
There you go.
don't know where I'm looking at. There it is. That's
Yeah,
better.
there we go. Okay, yeah, I don't want that. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. We have an absolutely spectacular episode planned for you. I promise.
Yes, we do.
I promise. I absolutely promise.
First and foremost, allow me to thank Justin for the Kava that I'm drinking today. Ooh, that is way over.
And allow me to thank Le Bleu. Le Bleu, 100% pure, ultra pure, not just pure water, ultra pure water. Ultra pure water from Le Bleu, Bulavanaka.
Bulavanaka. I think
all the water bottles now are that like wimpy cellophane, looks like it's going to fall apart because the turtles have a harder time choking to death on it. This is solid, like serious plastic Le Bleu water. They're like, screw the turtles. This is screw the turtles water right here.
This straw is cracked and broken, so I can't get anything out of it. Hang on, I'll be right back.
That's a screw the turtle straw too, because it can really get in there.
I'm throwing this thing out into the street, so hopefully it just gets washed right into the ocean.
Into a turtle. Throw it right into the red algae. Hey everybody, this is now the Spike Cohen Show. Welcome to the Spike Cohen Show, featuring Matt Wright's microphone there. Yeah, so we don't like turtles on this show. We never have. But frankly, this is as good a time as any to let you know. Sarah Ann Anderegg, top fan. Sarah Ann Anderegg says, LL Cool Jew is my fave nickname yet. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. And I agree. I don't know. I'm kind of partial to Notorious JEW. I kind of like that one too. Chris Reynolds said, "Did Matt's mic grow?" This is the Matt's ever growing mic show, where every time it's just a little bigger than the time before. It's like kind of a theme. And Chris was the first one to catch on. Good job, Chris.
Nice job, Chris.
Let's see. Jordan Logue said, "What if I told you beards violate safety protocol because they make it more likely that you'll touch your face?" I tell you that I keep saying I'm going to shave it, Jordan, and then I don't, because what happens is, see here, there's two conflicting things happening here. One is my safety, and my wife, who hates facial hair. So for all the good reasons, I should be shaving my beard. And then the problem is I'm a libertarian, and people see my beard and say, "Oh, your beard's finally starting to come in." And so it's a weird dichotomy. One would think that I would side with my own personal health and the love of my life over that of people on the internet who would call me a bootlicker just as soon as they look at me. And yet here we are. I'm really liking this. I'm liking how the white's coming in here. But it is starting to get a little absurd, especially since I haven't had my hair cut in what feels like 2 years. It was sometime in February. Like, it's really getting out of hand, and it needs to end. We need to do something about it. But yeah, we've got a great. Go ahead.
Did you know that on I'm gonna guess last Thursday, Aaron Nakamoto sent us $4.81.
Yes, for your birthday. For Matt's birthday. By the way, happy birthday to Matthew Wright. Over here to my right, your left.
Don't ever call me Matthew.
To Matt tilde just right. Just Matt.
Right. We are not live on Float, which sucks but other than that, we look great everywhere.
Why aren't we on Float?
I don't know.
We should be.
Yeah, and a happy anniversary to you and your lovely wife.
Thank you. We had a great anniversary, socially distancing from everyone. Honestly, we don't like people anyway, so it was actually good. We got to go to some outdoor stuff near the beach and do some fun stuff. And everyone stayed away from us. It was actually kind of a dream vacation, honestly. Nice little. Yeah, it was great. I got to spend time with my wife and no one else. And like literally, like they'd stand over. We even saw some people that we know who we're friends with, and they stood like 10 feet away, and we just waved at them, and it was nice. I was like, yeah, everyone stay away from me. So this episode is brought to you by the Libertarian Party Dad Bod Calendar, featuring some of the sexiest libertarian men on the planet, or in this country, including yours truly right there, Mr. April, the sweet summer boy. Be sure to use this as a very effective social distancing tool by keeping it around you at all times and just pulling it out anytime anyone comes within 6 feet of you. Go to libertariandadbod.com. You can get one of these calendars. It doesn't just have pictures of me. This is just one of the many pictures, and they're all downhill from this one. But libertariandadbod.com, $12 including shipping. Great deal for that. And then this episode's also brought to you by the Libertarian Party Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing caucus that is based on a series chain of restaurants that are basically all shut down now, which is frightening because they never shut down, ever.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrifying.
Like, that's horrifying, the reality that, like, I think most of the Waffle Houses are shut down now. It's the apocalypse, and this episode, of course, is also brought to you by the upcoming Libertarian Party Coronavention in Austin, Texas, May 21st to 25th. Definitely not canceling that, and we're definitely going to just have 2,500 people together right in the midst of a pandemic. That might get rescheduled. So, yeah. Let's get right to it, Matt.
Speaking of the Corona fuffle.
I still have that. Hold on. Speaking of the Corona fuffle, brought to you by Bitcoin and Charmin Ultra Strong.
A man in India who had apparently gone insane from being quarantined for quarantined too long due to potentially being infected by the Corona fuffle, decided to strip naked and run through the streets, eventually biting an elderly woman to death who was sleeping on her porch.
To death?
To death. Bit her to death. And honestly, there's nothing I wanted to add to it. I was just really happy it wasn't in Florida. This was the most Florida man story I've ever heard in my life, and I was just really happy it wasn't, so I figured I would talk about it.
To death?
Yeah, I think he caught like the jugular and ripped it out.
I must have been. Gosh, that is commitment. Goodness, that does sound like, well, I mean, India is kind of the Florida of large countries in many ways.
Australia is the Florida of large country in many ways.
So Florida doesn't exist?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. No, that explains a lot. Well, thankfully, that only weird news related to people being something to death related to the Corona fuffle is only in other countries. Totally unrelated news. A woman named Janie Marshall, 86-year-old woman in Brooklyn, New York, was waiting at a hospital for a bowel obstruction. She was waiting there because she had a bowel obstruction.
Yes.
Right. She wasn't waiting to get a bowel obstruction.
Right.
So instead, another patient punched her square in the face because she was upset that she wasn't practicing social distancing.
Right. And the patient who punched her square in the face was a 32-year-old female who was initially released for disorderly conduct.
For punching an old woman in the face at the hospital.
Where in the face for not staying 6 feet away.
Because that's the best way to maintain a healthy distance, is to make contact with someone else's face at a hospital. That absolutely is healthy for their face and your fist.
But yes, the woman who attacked her was released on her own recognizance. But after Janie died, the police were looking for the attacker to arrest her on upgraded charges. And the death of Janie Marshall of Williamsburg appeared to be the first potential crime in New York City sparked by fears over the deadly contagion.
So we have a situation. So one was crazy because he's being quarantined, and as one would do in such an anxiety-producing situation, bit someone to death while he himself was naked.
Yes.
This person, slightly more nuanced approach, just punched someone. I mean, this is horrifying. I like that she punched her because she wasn't social distancing.
Yeah.
So we just made full contact. If you're not going to keep 6 feet from me, I'm going to actually touch your face hard.
I am going to hit somebody that's like 3 times my age.
3 times my age. Cutting their face and possibly my hand too. So if they do have coronavirus, I almost assuredly have it now, and also they're dead.
There's a debate going on which one of us looks more like the Tiger King, and you are currently winning, sir.
I can't imagine I wouldn't be. Which one? I'm definitely not getting the eyebrow ring. And if I would, it would sit right. Like this thing where it's like all hanging down, and it's like always, it's got to be in his field of view. Imagine how infuriating that must be to go through life and just have this like thing.
So, as a person who has had many an eyebrow ring in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I've had a few. I have had a few. I had 2 on this side and 1 on this side. I did a lot of drugs in the early 2000s.
I also did a lot of drugs. I didn't do, apparently not enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have met me in the early 2000s, everything was pierced. Tongue, lip, nose, eyebrows.
Did you do the Prince Albert?
No, okay. Nothing below the waist. Okay. Everything above.
All right.
Yeah, I had like everything pierced.
Interesting.
Now, when you first get it, it's there and placed correctly. And none of mine lasted long enough to do this, but the longer you would wear it, it would just slowly pull down on the skin. And it looks like he had just never taken his out in 50 years.
And can that can't be reset?
It could. You just have to take it out and then just move it.
And
but it's just because the skin right there was just being pulled on for 20, 30 years, lightly.
Fair enough. Top fan Sarah Ann Anderegg is invoking our religion of Judaism in relation to your Prince Albert. It's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, it happens. Okay, great. So these were all great news. So here is, and so as part of terrible news, I guess this is somewhat better news. As part of the kerfuffle brought to you by Myland and the Trump 2020 campaign, please, please, please vote for me. Please vote for Donald Trump, even though just ignore everything that's happening. Please, God, please. Campaign. The FDA and Health and Human Services, Ben Carson's agency that's making sure to stockpile all of our pyramids with grain.
He's housing and urban development.
The Health and Human Services have approved and released 30 million doses of hydroxychloroquine sulfate. Key difference, by the way. Key difference there. And 1 million doses of chloroquine phosphate to be donated to the Strategic National Stockpile. In other news, there is apparently a Strategic National Stockpile of hydroxychloroquine sulfate. Related news there.
And chloroquine.
And chloroquine phosphate. Now, this is... Go ahead.
Well, this is definitely not the same chloroquine phosphate that cleans fish tanks, so please don't be like the Arizona man and his wife who took it and ended up dead.
Did she end up dying too? Because the thing I read, she was just really, really sick. But he was dead. He died quickly.
Did she not die? I thought she died too. Maybe I misread that article.
She may have ended up dying. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, I read it like that day, the same day it happened.
Well, we know at least one of them died, so just don't take that stuff. Take the actual medicine.
Don't take fish cleaner.
Right. Don't die from being dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
You watch us. You're not that unintelligent.
like we're not Donald Trump fans, but the people who were trying to pin that on him because he mentioned
they were reaching there.
that was a reach.
That was a reach.
Like, was he premature in telling people that hydroxychloroquine might do wonders? Yeah, because now there are people with like rheumatoid arthritis and lupus who do use those drugs who are now facing shortages of it based on the possibility that it might actually work for this, and we don't know yet. So I will definitely give people that. Like he definitely shouldn't have done that. But you really, I mean, if someone is ready to hear a word that sounds familiar and then eat something that is for your fish tank, and I would assume in big bright letters somewhere on it says, please don't eat this, please.
Yeah, please don't ingest.
Like, this is poison.
For
Don't
external uses only.
For not anywhere on or near your body use only, please God, please don't.
Yeah.
I have to assume there's some kind.
Julia Rygard in the comments. PSA: don't ingest fish tank cleaner.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like this is like, I remember a couple years ago when I was just begging people, just don't sniff, don't eat Tide Pods.
Yes.
Like, just don't.
Don't do that.
And I hate that I have to say that. And yet here we are. And these weren't even kids. These were full-on grown adults that did that there.
The Tide Pods thing was over a year ago.
Yeah, it was like 2018.
No, it was 2019, but it was January. Because we talked about that in our end of the year things that happened this year that you already.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just, they said, they force pills on us and then they lock up the real medicine. That's why they locked up the Tide Pods. But anyway, so
Andrew Richard eat Andrew in the comments. Sorry, man, I'm not trying your last name. He says, just as long as there isn't a shortage of bourbon. But that is, of course, unless you're in a state like, say, Massachusetts, where they just banned all alcohol sales for a week, or in other states that are going to be doing the exact same thing shortly. It's not that we have a shortage. It's just you're not allowed to buy it.
Yeah, so it's a different type of shortage. It's a shortage of people who are willing to pay a fine to sell it to you. So Chris Reynolds says, I'm pretty sure Spike said one Tide Pod was okay. I think a maximum dose of 0 Tide Pods is recommended. Similar dosage schedule to chloroquine phosphate of 0 amounts.
If we're talking about the fish tank cleaner.
The fish tank chlor. No. I mean, chloroquine. Oh wait, let me make sure on that. Yeah, chloroquine phosphate. Yeah. Yeah. So don't do that. Just don't if it says don't eat this, just don't eat it.
Don't eat it.
That's probably good guidance there.
Like the silicone gel things that come in jerky packets.
Okay, but fun fact there, they just taste bad.
Is that why?
Yeah, it just ruins your eating experience.
Huh.
I mean, it might kill you too.
I mean, that's like a Tide Pod. It might kill you.
It might kill you.
It's going to taste bad.
Best case scenario, it's going to taste terrible.
Right.
Worst case, it's over. So don't do that either.
Don't do that.
Anything that says do not ingest, do not ingest.
Don't ingest.
Just don't do it.
Right.
There's no need for that. We're very anti-ingesting things that you don't. So speaking of terrible ideas that Matt has done in the past, we know that all these stay-at-home orders are. Oh, this episode is also brought to you by Henry McMaster, my governor of South Carolina. He's a bitch. Bitch. Brought to you by this bitch right here, who just shut everything down because he's a bitch.
Whew.
Henry McMaster.
I have called people that more times in the last 40 minutes than I have in 3 weeks.
That's fair. Well, I'm joining you now. Governor Henry McMaster, governor of South Carolina, and noted BIH right there. So, we know these stay-at-home orders are unconstitutional, which means the Constitution is bound to stop them at any moment. Many of you have been uncomfortable not being able to be your normal extroverted selves, as we know all internet libertarians are.
We're obviously talking to the non-libertarians.
To our non-libertarian followers. Internet libertarians, most of you, if it wasn't the government telling you to do this, you'd be freaking loving this.
Yeah, you would be, if it was just like, stay at home if you want to, stay away from all other people. If you don't want to, you'd be like, done.
Done.
I am going to sit here and watch. I'm going to catch up on all of my economics videos I've been saving on YouTube for the last week.
Right.
Because I haven't had time to watch them because I've been forced to go out and do things.
Do things with other people. But now that it's the government telling you not to go outside, you're like, I want to see everybody. So
I want to go out.
So we know you're not comfortable with this, but the question we have is, are you more uncomfortable with that or with realizing that Governor Andrew Cuomo has pierced nipples like Matt Wright did?
I did.
Is that what they look like?
Is that what mine looked like?
I mean, vaguely, like with the bars or whatever?
No, I didn't have the bars. I had hoops. I was on. Okay, so I went to a lot of raves, and I was on a lot of party drugs.
Oh wait.
And so I actually pierced those myself. Yeah. Yeah, I know. And because of that, like I can there's like no feeling whatsoever. Yeah, that hurts you, doesn't it? Like,
we had entire conversations about your nipples. How did this not come up?
I don't know.
We have a 10-minute long segment.
Conversations about a lot of nipples. Mine weren't the only ones.
Okay, but if my nipples came up in a conversation and I had done that to them, I couldn't stop myself from telling everyone. Like, hey everyone, funny story. Can't feel anything from the areola in.
Nothing. There's like nothing. People get weirded out by that when I do that.
What did you use?
I don't know. Probably a safety pin and then pushed one of my old piercing rings through it. I don't remember. I was on a lot of drugs, man.
We had a 10-minute segment of us just talking about nipples.
Nipples.
And I probably said Matt Wright's nipples 20 or 30 times.
No, we only said that once. I watched that entire video to make the video where it was us saying nipples. We only said Matt Wright's nipples once. Because it goes nipples, 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 cone-shaped nipples.
Cone-shaped nipples.
Nipples.
Matt Wright's nipples.
Matt Wright's nipples.
Oh, we only said it the one time.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm actually more uncomfortable about your nipples now than Andrew Cuomo's here. Because this I can think of in the abstract. I'll probably never meet this man.
Right. Well, and you know me.
Oh, I know you. And that's the problem, Matt.
For $5, anybody's allowed to give one a good tug.
I'll give you $5 to never say that again. So speaking of just oh man, I want that scraped from my brain somehow.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm going to figure that out. So here's some good news, guys. Something to make us all hopefully move on from all of that. During this time of the kerfuffle, brought to you by Bitcoin, a lot of companies have been doing a lot of good for the people who are stuck in quarantine. They're not just their employees, but also their customers and just the general public, right, Matt?
Yes. Very, very much so. I wasn't actually listening at all. Yeah.
I like doing that to you occasionally just to keep you on track.
Yeah, no, I was just out there in my own world.
No, I know you were out there hard. That's why I did
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I was
So anyway,
thinking
Matt, we were talking
in the early
about,
2000s.
if you need a minute, we were talking about how during this time, a lot of companies have been doing a lot of good for the people who are stuck in quarantine. Tell them about that. Tell the folks at home about that, Matt.
Yeah, so a lot of people are getting mad at companies being like, oh, this is, they aren't looking out for the consumer, but actually a lot of companies are. And what's great about it is they are doing this based on what they think is right. They aren't doing this under government force. They aren't doing this based on anybody telling them they have to. They're doing this literally because they want to.
Right.
And it's really great for PR, but again,
of course, yeah.
Right, but it's because they want to. Airbnb, which I will admit before I say what I'm about to say, from what I understand, Airbnb hasn't been great on the cancellation fees. I'm not sure if they've worked on that. I heard that a couple of weeks ago. Don't know if that's been changed. But Airbnb is providing housing for 100,000 COVID responders from around the world. And that comes from the co-founder, CEO, and head of community, Brian Chesky. Brian Chesky.
Not to be confused with Dick Pound. I wish I still had that picture up.
Good old
Here,
Dick
you keep
Pound.
talking. I'm pulling up Dick Pound. Hold on.
The International Olympic Committee did nothing for you. U-Haul is offering 30 days of free storage to college students forced to move out of their dorms, which that's awesome. Kids got all this crap that they need to put somewhere because their parents' house doesn't have room for it. Burger King, big fan of this one. Burger King is giving away 2 free kids meals with any purchase made by means of the Burger King app.
Oh, wow.
So 2 free kids meals if you purchase anything off the Burger King app. DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats announced they are suspending the collection of fees from independent restaurants. Big time there.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
And I believe that Grubhub was the one that is suspending all delivery fees.
At a time when people are really using it heavily, that's a pretty big deal.
Right. No, that's big. Companies including Chipotle, KFC, Popeyes, Moe's are giving away free deliveries on orders. Some do have minimum order costs of $10 or more, but if you're ordering for one person, that's not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, if I were going to be getting Chipotle, it's hard not to spend $10 at Chipotle. So,
Jacob LaBelle, there is no way I'm reading that out loud. I don't know what that is, and there is no way I'm reading that out loud.
I'm going to click on it.
Multiple companies have promised not to end service during this time, including Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile.
Oh, God.
I'm assuming I know what that was. Apparently,
check out the comments.
Is a site in the comments is offering 50% off.
Yeah.
Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint are not ending service during this time, and many of them are actually upping people's usage just automatically for no extra cost.
AT&T did that for me. They were getting like no overage on. We have like unlimited 4G indefinitely until they say otherwise. So that's pretty cool.
I have unlimited through Verizon right now, but they boosted my hotspot for indefinitely.
Cool.
Spectrum / Charter, AT&T, Comcast, Xfinity, internet services. They all have different offers for free or discounted internet costs. Chris Reynolds is offering something. I'm not really sure what. He didn't tell me. So I don't know.
Personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law,
right,
pictured here, is if he doesn't get you, I'm not gonna make any.
Yeah, let's not make any promises for him.
If he doesn't get you at least $1 million, then he's really He's really sorry about that.
Go out and get into an accident intentionally just because you said that.
Times are tough right now.
God, if I get into an accident after that, like that's gonna suck because it's like, So, and we know that many smaller companies are doing things. Most of them are local. We are not a local show. We are a national show. So outside of what Jacob LaBelle decides to comment,
I wasn't ready. So I thought it was going to be like where they sell like, toys and lubes and stuff. I wasn't ready for triple penetration. I wasn't.
Is that what it was?
Without warning. I think I need to at least be warned. Like if I go into a room and people say, "Hey, listen, before you come in here, there's a whole TP thing happening right now." And I go, "Okay, well, listen."
Chris Reynolds is offering free hugs when this pandemic ends.
That's perfect. That's actually
Chris Reynolds,
great.
who has been in quarantine for like, I think over 2 weeks now, because he still hasn't gotten his results back.
Chris Reynolds is about to make a real promise to you here. If no, I'm definitely not saying that. So yeah, Chris has some great deals for you. And once he's allowed to leave his home, he will be able to do that. So we're wishing well for Chris. Thoughts and prayers for Chris Reynolds.
But if anybody out there besides Jacob LaBelle knows of any small local companies, because that company may be local to him. I don't know.
They aren't small, I'll tell you that, huh?
Hey. If you have any favorite locals who are offering any kind of discounts, any kind of any boosts for their customers, leave them in the comments. We will make posts about all of them on our social medias.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll put them on Float, we'll put them on Twitter, we'll put them on Instagram, we'll put them on Facebook,
all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll put them everywhere, every social media that we have, and we will continue to give away all of our content for free because that's how good of guys we are.
If you go, Muddy Waters Media continues to be 100% off of all media consumption there. Did we? Tom Arnold says he'll give $20 for you to wear alligator clips. On his nipples?
I'm assuming that means on my nipples.
Oh, God.
Is he talking about like the battery?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you won't feel it. $20 is $20.
I mean, $20 is $20. Tell him I'll think about it.
Sierra Peterson says, "Can Chris be the flower boy at my wedding?" Yeah, if you don't want me there.
Why would you not want the alpha?
If you don't want the alpha spreading sunflower seed at your wedding, then I guess so. Whatever.
Yeah, Tom Arnold just said alligator clips on the nips.
Oh man, you should do it. $20, man.
Even that kind of gives me like, you know what?
You're not gonna feel it.
I mean, it depends on how high up you go. If it's just on the nip, you're right.
Just do it on the. You don't have to like go. I mean, Tom's not saying to like.
Imagine if you cut off part of my nip. Just snip.
Well, that's worth more than $20.
That's worth more than $20.
That's like
right.
At least $100. Like my nipples hurt talking about this. So we're giving away free us at muddiedwatersmedia.com. $20 for the thing with the nipples.
Right. Yes. Sarah Peterson says, you're the flower man. Chris would be the flower boy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm the flower man because I'm the alpha.
Right. So, yeah, go to muddiedwatersmedia.com for all of our stuff for free.
Chris Reynolds says Chris says $20 to the charity of your choice. I think the charity would be the Matt Wright Nipple Reconstruction Fund of America 2020.
No, honestly, it would probably be the Matt Wright Needs to Buy Food This Week Fund.
That's true.
Let's be honest. It's the Matt Wright Needs to Buy Kava Fund.
Matt, why are you bleeding from your shirt? That's not a big deal. Just bring the. I want the bottomless Kava, whatever you can get for $20. I assume bottomless kava is a thing. Oh, we've got some comments in YouTube. Bass says haters always hating. I assume that's about your nipples. Sarah Branyan says no. They say don't eat because they aren't food. They are non-toxic. I called poison control when my kid. Yeah, with the silicone. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can eat it. It's just tastes bad. It's not good for you. Not like Tide Pods, but it won't kill you. Yuck. He has.
She pierced.
What is with everyone piercing their own nipples?
I knew people that pierce their own like belly buttons and people who pierce their own lips. Like it was like a thing back in
Nipples?
the early aughts.
I must have missed that one.
Well, yeah, you're too busy smoking weed.
Good. Turns out that was a great life choice. Whew. Well, good. Well, speaking of nipples, now is the time for our favorite segment. I have nothing. Here. It's now time for us to just never. Here's Chris Reynolds, the personal injury attorney. Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in nipple, and this is where we're going to try to cleanse our brains of the whole entire first part of the show. At least I am. Pull up Chris's messages here. Again, you guys also are allowed
anybody can leave us messages.
Any human being
for this segment. Doesn't mean he's the only one that can call.
Yeah, like you can. Everyone, like he sponsors the segment, but you can still leave a message too. You see. So yeah. So here is our first one. We have 3 tonight. Big treat tonight. From personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your AOC Millennial Minute.
You sounded fancy.
One of the things that I would love to get your guys' perspective on is the segment of society that thinks that either this is still either a hoax or the growing population that I seem to see, especially online, that is essentially imploring us not to listen to the mainstream media, whatever that is, and that hospitals are actually empty and they're laying off people, and that we're being told a lot of lies. I guess I would just want to know, how would you guys respond to that? Is that something that, you would believe, that there's any credibility to, or not? Thanks.
So, first of all, you sound amazing, Chris.
You do. You sound so, like when you're not driving.
You sound like us.
Yeah, when you're not driving and you're not hitting the little the turn signal, which good for you for being in Florida and using a turn signal. Very proud of you there. But good for you. You sound good here.
Sound good.
Quarantine is doing good things for you.
Quarantine, you sound quarantastic, right there, my friend. So it's not a hoax. I think the people that are still saying it's a hoax are fools, and I think the people who are saying stuff like more people died of the flu, that's not going to be true much longer, and they aren't getting how exponential growth of a new disease works. What I do agree with is I don't think, and I actually made a video. If you go to my Facebook page, Facebook.com/literally Spike Cohen, or search for Spike Cohen, your next VP. Or check me out on Twitter at Real Spike Cohen. But if you go to my Facebook page, I made a sweet ass 6-minute long video where I talked about.
Couldn't you go to our website?
Oh yeah, it's on the website. You can also go to muddywatersmedia.com and check out that sweet ass video where I talk about why these lockdowns don't work. Or at least they don't work relative to the amount of damage they're doing in other ways. So it does slow the spread somewhat, but not that much. And it also has completely destroyed the economy and is causing damage as a result of that. And I'm not convinced it even really slows the spread. Here's the reality of how this works. They're telling you that you can't go outside, like this bitch right here. Don't go outside unless you have to go to the store or the bank or the pharmacy or the hospital, or if your child has to go to childcare and sneeze and drool all over the other children. And don't go outside except during a very fixed number of hours of the day, so that you're all at these places at the same time, and you're all touching the same items frantically at the store, and then the cashier is touching all of your food that you just bought because you think there's not going to be any more food left, and then they give it back to you, so you're touching what they touched, and everyone's touching everyone's things, and you're exchanging cards and receipts and cash and change, and just touching, and you're all huddled together because it's all the only places you can go, and a lot of you are sick and sneezing all over each other and licking things, and you're all just disgusting and all together, and all just stuck all together for social distancing, because that's how it works when you're checking out of a store. Everyone's 6 feet away from each other, right? They're not all packed together. And then, but you can't go to a restaurant. Instead, you should just sit on the sidewalk where everyone pees and poops and spits and sneezes and coughs. And then you should stay inside with your closest old relatives and bring back everything that you brought from the store, including all the diseases that you touched everything that they touched, because none of you people wash your fucking hands, and you're just disgusting human beings, and you spread the disease as much as possible, and then send your little bastards off to daycare so that they can get sick and make each other sick. And they don't even get sick from this. They just get infected and make everyone else sick. And then they die, and the kids, it's an orphan maker. It's an orphan maker disease for these kids. These kids, poor kids, they lose everything because all the people die. All the people just die. And they get to just, I wonder what happened.
No more. Is finished.
Oh, yeah. Oh, how did we not include that?
Well, I got that audio, just that part.
Good news.
I had to call an end to whatever you were doing then. Does he really sound like that? Please tell me he sounds like that.
He does in my mind. I don't listen to him. Oh, and we're going to shut the beach down because it's the only thing Spike likes to do, and he's not within like 30 feet of another person. And he goes into fucking salt water where the disease can't even live because it's salt water. But he definitely can't do that. Don't do that. Just go to the store with everyone else. But only from 8 to 8. So the bans don't work. And the only way that the lockdowns don't work, the only way they could work is if you truly just made everyone stay home and not leave their home for like 3 months. And I mean, people would starve to death. Like, it would be way worse than the 1 to 3% fatality rate of COVID, if that. I mean, it would be mass starvation and people hurting themselves, and and also the police, because they're so busy making sure that more than 3 people. I can't, man. You definitely can't have 4 people together at the park, and so because of that, we're not going to be responding to calls of breaking and entering or assault. I'm basically creating the conditions for the purge because I'm a bitch. So that's what I do believe they're right about. Mainstream media, if you're not listening to Muddy Waters Media, then you're getting lies from Russia. And that should stop. This is an American program.
Jacob LaBelle, real quick. I didn't know Facebook was being lame, which would then be 2 weeks in a row. We are not on Float today. We don't know why. We streamed to it, but they said that they're having technical difficulties. So go to YouTube, youtube.com/muddywatersmedia, and find us there.
I'll put the link in there.
Now, I don't know if I believe this. I do think there's a possibility that the death numbers are inflated.
The number of dead or the fatality rate?
The number of, yes. Because
those are two distinctly different things there that you said yes to, but okay.
Well, the number of dead from this and the fatality rate along with it. I'm not I think people are dying of other things, like heart disease, like being shot. And they are counting it in this. It's like when they were with kratom, when they were trying to ban kratom, they're like, it's had this many deaths. One of those people had been shot in the chest twice. And they were saying, oh, it's because he had kratom in his system. So obviously kratom was part of the reason he died. I've seen reports online. None of them have been confirmed. So I don't want to this isn't the hill I'm dying on. But people have said, oh yeah, if people are dying of heart disease right now and they were asymptomatic of COVID, then they're counting it as a COVID death. And it would not surprise me if that was something that was happening.
Possibly. If nothing else, the fact that we know that a good bit, possibly even a majority of the people who get this have little to no symptoms. And we also know that a bunch of people, I've said it quite a while now, I think I might have gotten it in February. I know I have a friend who's just recovering from what they think might have been it, and we never got tested, and they're still being real stingy with the tests. So there's a good chance that, there's way more people that got it, which means that the fatality rate's lower because they're not counting those people as confirmed infections. There was a study from Oxford in the UK that they think that as much as 50% of the UK population has already been infected, which would actually be good news because that would mean that the fatality rate is something like the flu or maybe even a little less. There have been other studies that show that they don't think that's the case, but the fact that there's even some question there, so there's some possibility there. I'm not sure how much I think the number of deaths are being inflated, although that's absolutely possible. I do think that the fatality rate, we won't know it. I remember when H1N1 was out there in 2009, and we thought that it was a disease that was not spreading very fast, but it was killing a lot of people. It turned out that it infected like 60 million people and killed 12,000 people. We didn't know it was anywhere near that until they started doing antibody testing and figured that it was somewhere between 40 million and 80 million, with some were settled in the middle on 60 million that got it, which gave it a fatality rate of 0.01%. So you never know. I mean, I do think this is more deadly than H1N1 or the flu, but we will find out. But don't watch any other media but this. You don't need to. It's just going to depress you.
Yeah, and like Chris says, or take the test. Or the test takes 2 weeks to get results, and you wonder why you even got tested initially.
Really?
Which last I talked to him, he hadn't even. Last I talked to him about this, he hadn't even gotten the result. Like he hadn't gotten the results back, and it had been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I mean, it's we really don't know, and it's sad, but we'll find out. We'll know soon enough, I guess, is the bottom line. But so I hope we answered your question with that. And so now we have another question from Chris Reynolds.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your Music Minute. During this time of reflection, I feel like I might be going through somewhat of a midlife crisis, and I'm really hoping that Spike can help me out. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, mostly listening to hip-hop, like NWA, Public Enemy, Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, that kind of stuff. Never any sort of like R&B or any of that kind of stuff later on. I thought that was kind of weak. So I find myself driving to the grocery store the other day, and I'm listening, and I'm just like singing along, tapping my foot to The Weeknd's new album, which really shocked me. So I would love your all's opinion, especially Spike. Am I in trouble?
Yeah, it sounds like you're not as hard as you used to. Another thing I wasn't ready for on this has just been a series of things I've not been ready for this entire episode, even though I'm the one that produces it, which you'd think I'd be more ready for these things. So no, I mean, listen, I guess I'm not as, you probably would have beaten me up back in the day because I'm into R&B and the soul stuff and the reggae. Like, I'm cool.
Had a
like
mental image of Chris Reynolds
taking my lunch money,
like being a bully to anybody. He's
me.
He is like to anybody. I don't even care if it's you. He's like, granted, he's like 6'4". But he is rail thin.
You got that reach.
I mean, he does have the reach.
You got that
he
reach.
Have the reach on you. But I can't imagine Chris like, give me your lunch money. Whack.
Boop, boop. Listen, I mean, there's some tall, skinny kids out there that, they got that reach. They know how to really lean into it. They can torque it on you. And like that. I mean, it's those ones you got to watch. You go, oh, he's lanky. What's he going to do? Boop, boop. You can't even do anything about it because they're so far away. So I don't know, but I think maybe you're maturing. Maybe this is, you don't have to, these streets haven't been the kindest to you, and you don't have to live for these streets anymore, Chris. And now you're realizing that you can be a kinder Chris. You can be a kinder Chris. You're still a thug. Like, you're still thug Chris. I'm not saying you're not a thug, but I'm just saying maybe you're a thug with a heart now, And that's okay. That's a good thing. That's beautiful. I think that's beautiful that you're more of a a gangster love instead of just a gangster or gangsta. Sorry. I haven't heard The Weeknd's new album yet, but I'm sure it's good. I like the old one.
In news, though, probably come as no shock to anybody. I haven't heard it either.
At all.
No. I did hear the new Childish Gambino album.
Which is... those are also good.
Yeah. I really liked it. I've listened to it a lot.
That's good.
Yeah, no, really dug the new Childish Gambino.
That's good. So we're going to get this last one from Chris where he's probably going to tell me to give him my lunch money.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with your favorite weekly segment, Ask Spike. So, during this period of reflection, probably one of the biggest issues, especially one of the most divisive issues of our era, has been something that lots of people have been contemplating. It really tells you a lot about somebody, where they stand on this issue, whether or not you can be friends, what kind of person they are. And so I really just need some guidance from Spike on this one to see what he thinks about probably one of the more important issues of our lifetime. We've got this documentary of the Bulls coming up here, and I want to know, where does Spike stand on the MJ versus LeBron debate? Thanks.
I thought you were going to ask me a Tiger King question.
Ooh.
Listen, people say a lot of bad things about LeBron. That he's gone around to different teams and he hasn't been loyal, and he's like a soccer flopper. That, if he gets touched, he's like, I'm sure LeBron has made some mistakes in his life, things that he's not proud of, things that he might want to, redo if he had a chance, but at least he didn't kill his husband like that lying bitch down in Florida, Carol Baskin. Okay? No, I am not, this may come as a shock to you, I am not I'm not the biggest sports buff, but just from what I do know, my understanding is that Michael Jordan was a much more well-rounded player and did so for a longer period of time. I don't know if that's true, but I also like him more. He was in Space Jam. LeBron not in Space Jam.
He's in Space Jam too.
I won't watch that.
Neither will I.
Not my Space Jam.
Hashtag
not my Space Jam. And
right.
Yeah, so that's my take on that. But since you asked about Tiger King, Joe Exotic didn't do it. He got set up by that lying asshole Jeff Lowe. And
man, we have hit like every cuss word tonight.
And we're usually like, we're
usually a pretty PG show.
No, but it's this bitch Henry McMaster that's bringing it out in me.
And Carol Baskin
down in Florida killed her husband.
Yep. Right over here in Tampa.
Oh, that's right. It's right there.
Yeah,
well, and Doc Antle is.
Oh yeah,
there.
He's like 10 minutes from you.
Yeah, he's like I think less than 10 miles away from me. He's like 10, 15 minutes away from me. Right
we should call. We should get Austin Peterson on the phone because he's in Missouri. Oh no, wait, that's Oklahoma, isn't it?
Oklahoma, yeah.
God, I know somebody in Oklahoma. We should get them on the phone, and then we'll have all three.
Oh, Aaron Adams is. Are you friends with Aaron Adams?
I think so.
She's in Oklahoma. She's actually in that documentary. A couple places she's featured in it because she was working on one of his rival competitors for the primary, and I sent a friend request to Nick. So Nick, if you're watching this, accept my friend request, please.
Nick.
Thank you. The guy that was Joe's campaign manager, the one who said, I'm a libertarian, so technically fuck the feds.
He showed up, and people you might know. And I was like,
yeah, that's what happened. He showed up, and I'm like, I don't know him, but
Tiger King is 15 minutes away from me.
Oh, well, there you go. This is the triumvirate right here.
Yeah, you have Doc, I have that bitch, and she's got the Tiger King.
She's got both Joe Exotic and Jeff Lowe.
Yeah.
And then that fat guy that was on the jet ski at the end. You know, that movie is so messed up that, like, in one of the episodes, there's a guy riding a one of those three-wheel cars, like three-wheel roadsters, and he has a skeleton, full-size skeleton, in his passenger seat. And none of us questioned that.
I kind of liked him up until I saw him in the three-wheeled, like the motorcycle with two wheels in the front.
But, like, none of us saw, like, most shows, if you were watching that and that happened, I would be like, what the hell is that? That show? We were already so desensitized to insanity that A, we didn't care, and B, the show producers felt zero obligation to explain any of that to us.
No.
And C, we didn't care that they didn't feel that. Like, we were all in on the fact that just nothing has to make sense. It's like when you watch The Masked Singer, and if you kind of step back for a moment and look at what you're watching and think this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
But you're so trying to figure out if that's, you know, Janet Jackson.
It's not.
It's not. It's
Who are you talking about?
The fallen angel. It's it's the woman from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah. It's the Real Housewives woman.
The one who wrote No Scrubs. That's who that is. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Then you've also got Barry Zito is the Rhino.
I don't know. Who's Barry Zito?
He was a pitcher for the Giants and the A's.
You had to have looked that up. How in the hell would you know that a pitcher for the Giants sings like that?
Because he released an EP about 5 years ago.
Oh.
Because he went to go play for the Nashville Sounds, and that was where he fit, like, in their AAA team for the A's. Now they're for the A's. When I was living there, they were for Milwaukee, I think. And so he went to go pitch there, and then he started his music career, and he released an EP.
Well,
yeah,
that's when I had no idea. Like, I know the astronaut, I'm sure, is some, like, pop country singer that I have no idea who that is. And what's that?
Hunter Hayes.
Is that a pop country singer?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that's, I knew I didn't know who that was. And then, like, the one that was the one who knew Ken, I didn't know who she was. But I knew who freaking JoJo Siwa was. And I knew who she was in the, like, first 10 seconds of the first song. And I hated myself for knowing that.
I didn't know who that was.
When she, I want to start a fight. And I'm like, oh, God, I know that voice.
Nobody guessed Sarah Palin. Nobody guessed Sarah Palin.
No. Now, I watched that having already known, because everyone had to talk about that. I watched that having known that it was already going to be Sarah Palin. I don't think I would have guessed that.
No, there is no way.
There was no way.
Nobody would have been like, Sarah Palin. I didn't get Sarah Palin. There was no way I was guessing Tony Hawk.
No, but I knew it was Lil Wayne. Everyone else is like, oh, is that Johnny in Knoxville? I'm like, how is this not? I felt like the entire first season where I knew it was the monster was T-Pain, and everyone's sitting there going, "Oh, could it be Michael Vick?" I'm like, how do you not know? Some of you have recorded songs with this person. How on earth do you not know that that's T-Pain? Like, it's so obviously T-Pain. And I felt like they were going to do that again with Lil Wayne. So when he was kicked off the first episode, I'm like, thank God we can finish this. And they're all like, "Oh, I thought you were a white guy." I'm like, how did you not hear Lil Wayne? So speaking of not knowing that it was Lil Wayne, Joe Biden's a rapist. So,
you just went right into that one.
So last week, in breaking rapey Joe news, last week, The Intercept released an article detailing how Time's Up, which is a hashtag #MeToo organization, was unable to fund an allegation against... unable to fund an allegation against Joe Biden because they are a non-profit, and he is a very well-respected presidential candidate, pictured here, being respectable, and not... Actually, I mean, he looks like he's thinking about raping everyone on Earth there.
Everybody that can see him right now, he is thinking about raping you.
He is smile raping the entire Western Hemisphere.
You know, that picture, I stole that picture from a meme, and above that picture it said, "When you ask your toddler if they just pooped in the corner." It said it was something along those lines, and I sent it to Sarah, and I sent it to my buddy Adam as well, and he goes, "Yep, that's the face." But when I was doing the notes on this, I was like, "What would be the perfect Joe Biden picture for this?" The toddler pooping one.
Yeah, I mean, that to me looks more like... Well, maybe that's... I mean, that to me looks more like I'm raping everyone.
I'm raping all of you.
Raping all of you.
Right.
So Time's Up also, they were one of the ones that worked to keep Justice Kavanaugh from getting on the bench. But they were not a 501(c)(3) at the time.
No, they were not.
So now they can't do this.
Well, yeah, they're also afraid that if they go after a presidential candidate, it will affect their 501(c)(3) standing.
Yeah, it might. It might.
Yeah, it could. Tara Reid, who is not Tara Reid from American Pie or from Sharknado.
Clearly.
She was a Senate staffer during the 90s, and after an accusation by politician Lucy Flores from Nevada, who claimed that Joe Biden had inappropriately touched and sniffed her last April, Tara came out with her story. This is initially. Don't worry, we're going to get to everything else. Most of her story mirrored what we know about Biden so far. There was inappropriate touching, sniffing, etc. But before she got to the real meat of that story, it was a poor choice of words. That was like Joe Biden saying, "Just keep on punching" when he was talking about women's violence. That was bad.
Hashtag keep banging.
Keep banging.
Keep banging.
But after she came out with the initial reports on her story, she was doxxed and accused of being a Russian asset. So she went silent.
Being a Russian asset?
Yeah, one of the Russian trolls for Trump.
Okay.
Part of the reason she was accused of this is, one, she's a Bernie fan, so many people thought she was doing it for Bernie. But also, she had a tweet saying, "I love Russia with all my heart. President Putin scares the power elite in America because he is a compassionate, caring, visionary leader." Now, she is a freelance. Yeah, you have a question.
It's an interesting statement. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it is. Like, all of this story is filled with interesting statements. She's an author and claims to be working on a book about Russia, was learning about the country at the time and learning about Putin. And this was supposed to be part of a call for world peace, according to her.
Okay.
Now, remember, much like with Kavanaugh, we are not going to go out on a limb and say that this happened. This happened in 1993, and we aren't validating. And while we aren't validating what's being said, we are reporting what is being said. We'll leave it up to you. Figure out what you believe. Everybody in? Cool.
Yes.
At the time when the event happened, however, she told her mother, her brother, and a friend who worked in Senator Ted Kennedy's office about the incident, which I would have picked probably a different senator, but
someone who's less tolerant of such things. Yeah.
Somebody who hasn't, watched a bitch die.
Right. Someone who wasn't like, yeah, but did he, drown you?
You're fine. Her mother has passed away, unfortunately, but both her friend and brother told The Intercept she did tell them about it back then. Her brother has stated that he was not a good advocate for his sister back then because he told her just to get over it.
So this isn't a case of like, oh, why are you talking about it now? Like, she did actually say it back then, but everyone around her was just like a terrible person.
Right, pretty much. Reed's friend, who asked to remain anonymous as to not be part of the public blowback, said she discouraged Reed from coming forward at all, concerned that she would be attacked and would never get the apology she was hoping for.
Wow.
Reed and her brother, Colin, both said that their mother urged her to call the police and her brother urged her to move on instead. So she has told people about this, that these people have said, yes, she did tell us about it back in 1993.
Okay.
This is going to be a long one. According to her official statement, she said that a supervisor called her into the office and said, I want you to take this to Joe. Don't know what this is. I'm assuming it's not what we're going to talk about later, or at least I hope not. I want you to take this to I want you to take this to Joe. He wants it. We want you to bring it. Hurry. It was a gym bag. She called it an athletic bag. She said he was down towards the Capitol and he'll meet you. I went down and I was headed down towards there, and he was at first talking to someone, and then they went away. We were in the side area, and he just said, hey, come here, Tara. She continued with, I handed him the thing. He greeted me. He remembered my name, and then we were alone. It was the strangest thing. There was no exchange, really. He just had me up against the wall. I was wearing a skirt, a business skirt. I wasn't wearing stockings. It was kind of hot. It was kind of a hot day that day, and I was wearing heels. I remember I was wearing a blouse, and he just had me up against the wall, and the wall was cold. It happened all at once. His hands were on me and underneath my clothes. Yeah, and he went down my skirt, but then up inside it, and he penetrated me with his fingers, and he was kissing me at the same time, and he was saying something to me. He said several things. I can't remember everything he said. So that was her statement, and this was said. So she initially tried to tell this story a year ago after the Lucy Flores incident. She ended up being doxxed, being called a Russian asset. Again, her tweet praising Putin, not really a good look for her.
Right, but just because she has a weird opinion about Russia doesn't negate the possibility that she was raped 30 years ago, almost
right.
27 years ago.
I agree.
Yeah.
Time's Up, fearful of losing their 501c3 status, refused to fund the accusation, but gave Tara their emotional support, which...
Hey, thanks.
Appreciate you. Biden has denied any inappropriate conduct in the past. He has not personally commented on this particular incident, but his campaign has released multiple denials on his behalf, including somebody that worked for him in the Senate from 1983 to 2000. And she said that. Did you lose me just now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well.
Oh, yep. I did. Go ahead. They can still hear you, but
okay.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. So she, one of his staff members from 1983 to 2000 said that at no point during her time as one of Biden's staff members did anybody ever bring her anything of this sort.
Okay.
And the campaign manager obviously said Joe Biden's never done anything wrong in his entire life. Now, again, it's been
anything ever.
Yeah, ever.
Nothing wrong.
We're not saying this happened, but she has told others about it in the past.
Right.
Which makes it massively different than the Kavanaugh instance, where Christine Blasey Ford could not find anybody that could corroborate that she had talked about it when it happened.
Right.
She tried to talk about it in the past. She's silenced, she was silenced by being doxxed and accused of being a Russian asset, which, again, whatever.
Yeah. So this could be either way. I mean, she could have made this up or not.
Right.
But what we do know is she has been consistent in saying this has happened. She just didn't have anyone that was willing to support her in going forward with it, which any person who's been a victim of rape can tell you that if they don't feel supported, it makes it a lot harder for them to, accuse someone, especially a beloved figure or, a prominent figure, if everyone around you is like, yeah, no, just shut up, just get over it. So it could have happened. I mean,
it definitely could have happened. Now,
and it might not. She may have been making this up this whole time. I mean, we don't know. And unfortunately, there's more than likely not going to be one way to find out one way or another.
And what she did say is that when it initially happened, she talked to her friends and she thought that something was going to come of this because she had talked about it with people and there were witnesses to the event.
Right.
But nobody was willing to back it up. Like nobody was willing to step out to say, oh yeah, no, Joe did that.
Or to just support her and say, this is a trustworthy person or whatever.
Right. Nothing. She did say that back then, 1993, she did say that back then women were just expected to get over things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can see people going, well, it's not like he raped you. He just touched you and, whatever. And, at least you're okay. I can picture it. I can picture it happening. I can picture this happening and her telling people, hey, this thing happened to me. It does sound kind of surreal in a couple spots, but that's also how we're hearing how it was explained, a transcript of her explaining it to someone. So it could have happened. It may not happen.
It could have happened. The only issue that I have with it, and granted, the Me Too movement has picked up a lot over the last couple of years, basically since we started this show.
Yeah.
Correlation? I hope not.
I hope not.
But he was VP for 8 years. Much like with Kavanaugh, when we said he's been working his way up the ranks closer and closer to Supreme Court. Now, granted, you don't know if somebody's going to be on the Supreme Court, but when you're talking about a federal judge at any level,
the odds are good. Yeah.
Right. Why wouldn't you report? Why wouldn't you report it then? It's the same criticism that we gave Ford and all of the other accusers for Kavanaugh, most of which were obvious fakes. This one, why didn't she say anything during the 8 years that he was VP? And again, the Me Too movement has been picking up recently.
But also,
he was one heartbeat away from the president.
Right. But she also was, even her own family was saying, ixnay on the apron, and like it sounds like everyone around her was like, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Now, maybe they said don't talk about that because she has a history of saying outlandish stuff. We really don't know.
Right.
I will say that
all of this we don't know. This is just, we are giving you the story, pointing out what's credible and what's questionable.
Right.
And leaving it on you.
Yeah. And in my opinion, this one has a little bit more teeth to it than, like, for example, Christine Blasey Ford. But for all I know, that one happened and this one didn't happen. We don't know. Kavanaugh could have absolutely, molested or raped Christine Blasey Ford, and Joe Biden may have very well not touched Tara Reade, or they both did, or neither did, or only Joe did and Kavanaugh did. Like, we don't know. We don't know, and it's very unfortunate. We do know that Joe really likes touching and sniffing girls, like a lot.
That's true. And you're seeing a lot of hypocrisy. You are seeing a ton of hypocrisy from both sides here, and that's why we're not going to say that this absolutely happened. We're just reporting what was reported. We're just telling you what other people have told us. But you're seeing, like, the Atlantic, for instance. Mm-hmm. There's a guy for the Atlantic who, during the Kavanaugh instance, he said just being accused is enough to make him where he should drop out. And again, I'm not agreeing with that sentiment.
Yeah,
I am not agreeing with that sentiment. But he's staying oddly quiet on the Joe Biden.
That's the thing. Like, if an allegation that this serious is enough for someone to have to just drop out because of an allegation, then that would be the case.
Then you're just going to start seeing it everywhere.
And like I said, in terms of just circumstantial, the fact that this woman has a lot of people backing her up, that, yeah, she was telling us this and we just weren't very supportive of her, that makes us have a lot more, in my mind, a lot more potential credibility. We at least know that she's been consistent in saying this happened to her. She may have been consistently lying the whole time. We don't know. But I don't know. This one sounds, and I would be lying if I said Joe Biden's history that we know of and have high definition video of, and that he's bragged about, doesn't help his case either, because he's kind of like this. Like, the people who are, upset about Trump, that he is at best, womanizer and at worst, sexual predator, and someone who has some very questionable statements he's made about women and things that he's done to women and talked about doing to women and all of this. Joe Biden's kind of all that stuff too.
Right.
Which is just so weird that they'd go with him and not Bernie Sanders, who, as far as I know, his only weird thing is he wrote like a weird rape fantasy story in college, which, is that weird? Yeah, but that's like, it's the only thing I've ever heard about him that was even anything like that. And, like, writing a story in college, like, that's a lot different than actually having people accuse you of touching them inappropriately. Like, it's not the same. And he's even said that, he wouldn't write that now and apologize or whatever. But, like, the things you can object to Bernie Sanders are his policies being terrible ideas. But in terms of his character, it's hard to find a lot of difficult, like, I mean, I'm sure you can, nitpick things. He hasn't had a real job and stuff like that. But, like, they're going with Joe Biden instead. It's just so, after Hillary lost to Trump, they're going with someone who isn't quite as bad as Hillary in some ways, but is actually worse than her in others. It's just very, even though, like, Bernie way more represents what they actually want. It's just, I find it very, very interesting. And as someone who's running in a campaign to try to scoop up as many, disaffected Bernie voters who are watching the DNC screw them just as hard as the Republicans Party screws their people, it's certainly welcome to me, but it's very sad to watch. Like, you wouldn't expect that, but here we are. So, yep. You tell us in the comments, do you think Joe Biden raped Tara Reade? Or do you think...
Sexually assaulted.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
Sexually assaulted.
technically not rape. It's not rapey Joe. It's sexual assaulty Joe.
Yeah, but
do you think that this guy got a little too touchy? Well, a lot too touchy. Against someone's consent, like way too touchy.
He got way
too touchy. Let us know in the comments. So before we go, I'm gonna do a quick Vermin Spike 2020 campaign update. We've been kind of smooth sailing. We did we've both done a bunch of different podcast interviews, and in fact, I think Vermin's doing one, or just finished one earlier. He
AMA on Thursday, right?
Yeah, he's doing an AMA on Thursday at 8, I think.
8, yeah, 8 or 9. I share.
Yeah, 8 p.m. He's doing an AMA, which will be good. On Saturday, I'm going to be attending the Libertarian Party of North Carolina convention on Zoom, and I will be giving one of my little videos and answering any questions people have, and just being there to support my fellow Carolina libertarians at a time when these bitches are just telling us what to do, just being bitches. So I'm going to be there for them with that.
James Case over on Periscope.
Oh.
Which, didn't know we got Periscope notifications on here. But James Case says that Biden definitely doesn't understand personal boundaries, or as we like to call it today, social distancing.
Yeah.
Matt Hicks is also drunk. This just in, Matt Hicks is drunk. For news that nobody considers news.
Breaking news. Matt Hicks intoxicated on alcohol.
Intoxicated. Yep.
Chris Reynolds says, go ahead.
Chris Reynolds wants to know when your AMA is.
I just had an AMA.
You seem to have one almost every week.
Yeah, so I have one. I've been having more like specific ones for different caucuses and stuff so that they can have a one-on-one with me and ask me questions specific to what's interesting to them. So I'll probably be doing, I guess I need to do a Waffle House caucus one, don't I?
Yeah.
Keep morale up.
Since our Reddit is definitely not popular, but I think we have 31 followers on that. But
it's 31 more than we used to.
That's true. That's 31 more than we had 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
When we started it. But we should probably promote in there and then share it to the Vermin Supreme group, talking about a AMA with you on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I'm putting the link to our group, by the way. We want everyone to join our group, Muddied Waters, the Muddied Waters discussion group that we have. I just put the link in Facebook. I guess I'll put it everywhere else too if you want to join it. Even if you're not on Facebook right now, you can join our Facebook group if you're on Facebook ever. We'd love to have you. And join in
the wonderful discussion that we have on that group.
Wonderful discussions we have every single night. So yeah, I'll be at the North Carolina convention. I'll be doing pretty much every weekend. I'll be at some convention on Zoom to talk about our campaign, talk about the Badger, talk about the cheesy bread, libertarianism, cheesy breadinism. So yeah.
You got a show tomorrow?
I do not have a show tomorrow. I might decide to go live at the last minute, but right now I don't have a guest.
Well, hit me up. I ain't got anything else going
on. I'll talk to you. If I'm not doing a show, it's because I'm talking to Matt. Everyone.
Yeah, okay.
You mean Matt being a guest?
Yeah, I mean, if you are bored, if you're like, I just feel like going live, whatever. We no notes. We'll just do it.
Oh, I may do that if I'm not asleep from napping.
He'd do it.
Matt would be my guest?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's saying I'll do it.
Oh, now I got to choose between my Matts.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't actually have to choose because one of you can be on video and the other one can call in on Hangout.
That's true. Oh.
So I'm either going to have an episode tomorrow or I'm not, or I'm going to have two guests, both my Matts, or just one of the Matts, or one of the Matts and the other Matt calls in, or nothing.
Yes.
All of those things could happen tomorrow. I'm tired right now, so I'm leaning towards nothing, but you never know.
Never know. Tomorrow's a new day.
Tomorrow is a new day, so let's wrap up on the comments here. Sounds like a magical show, exactly. Matt Squared. That is that. If we have it, that's what we'll call it, the Matt Squared show. And MFing Pop-Tarts. Absolutely.
I like how you edited that after already saying
after
that
swearing
word.
So much on this show. After swearing, I've sworn a lot on this show, which is not. I'm usually a very wholesome boy, but no,
we're usually very family friendly. Today got away from us.
Today, I'm telling you, this bitch, Henry McMaster. This is my Carol Baskin right here, Henry McBaskin, bitch. So
Henry McMaster, that bitch, Henry McMaster.
I'm not even gonna try to do his voice, but
can't get that high.
That bitch down in Florida, Carol Baskin. But this is my bitch right here. I'm sure he probably killed his husband too. I hate him. So, anyway, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow where I might be doing my show or not. I don't know. I may or may not be doing my show. I might be. If I'm not, I'm napping. And then be sure to tune in next Tuesday for a very special Muddy Waters of Freedom.
And tune in Thursday for Vermin's AMA.
Oh yeah, tune in.
Which we will probably post.
Yeah, we'll share the link to Vermin's AMA once that's up. And so be sure to tune into that Thursday, and then next Tuesday, Muddy Waters of Freedom, right back here with me and the beautiful Matt Wright right over there. And his mic will be 5% larger than it was in this episode. Every episode just slightly closer to the camera.
About there.
And eventually it'll just be the muddied mic of Matt is going to be what the show is called. So thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you possibly tomorrow if I feel like it. And where we're going...
Well, if you want to find us on the internet.
Oh, gosh, yes. If we are looking on the internet for us, how would that happen, Matt?
You can follow us online at Facebook at facebook.com/muddiedwatersmedia, on Twitter at muddied_waters, on Float at float, flote.app/muddiedwatersmedia. On Anchor, you can listen to all of our podcasts at anchor.fm/muddiedwaters. On YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/muddiedwatersmedia. And on Instagram, you can find us at muddiedwatersmedia. And I almost thought about saying we should just use this as our...
It is over. And the United States of America is healed.
Almost feel like that should be our outro from here on out, but I feel like
we should have used that as the yeah. Great news, everyone! Kenneth Copeland has canceled COVID, but just in America.
Just in America.
So if you're not in America, sorry. So be sure to tune in to a COVID-free Kenneth Copeland Kenneth Copeland revival episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom. And for our Vermin Supreme viewers tuning in on Periscope, thanks for tuning in to the last several seconds of this show. This show will be up shortly where you can watch the whole thing. I invite you to watch the whole thing as it happened earlier when we started it. But thank you. Again, we love you so much. Thank you so much to our Vermin Supreme, Vermin Spike 2020 team. Thank you to Matt Wright. Thank you to me. Thank you to Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, personal injury attorney at law, Chris Reynolds. And where we're going...
We don't need roads.
I don't like how I did that. Where we're going...
We don't need roads.